Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am Maddie Sanderson and this is This Bookish Cottage. You might hear my daughter, she is playing next to me. We do live on a houseboat, so it is very hard to try and buffer all the noises. So if you hear anything that is, you know, just annoying or whatever, I'm really sorry. Today we are going to be doing a couple of things. I'm trying to do several things at once and I figured you guys might want to come along for the ride for this, because who doesn't love a good organization video, a crafty video, anything along those lines. And then also, like, if you're anything like me, I like to be nosy, so I kind of like to see what people do with either their books, their houseboats, anything like that. So today we're going to be starting, we will probably not finish this, but I'm gonna wanna finish it sooner rather than later, otherwise I have to live in this mess. But we're gonna be starting to organize my shelves. Now I have a couple of things that I am kind of working around, and these are kind of like video vlog ideas, if that makes sense. So I'm going to be working with those. So I'm going to be producing some videos that are about series, like a series in a book, or a book series that is where I will start the series and finish the series within the same video, because I am world's worst at doing that. And so I'm gonna have that, so that though the series won't really pertain to what we're doing here. And then I have a couple of books that I'm going to be using for other videos, and so those ones will not be pertained to this video either. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove all of my series. I'm going to stack them somewhere else, and then I'm going to take all the other books that I have and I'm going to pull them out, set them all up to where I can see everything, and then I am going to be making these super fun little mini books, and I'm going to then put them in this beautiful jar that Cody got for me, and I will be using that as almost like an extra prompt. So if I finish all of my TBR, then I need other books, right? Because this month I finished it within like almost 2 weeks basically, and then I needed more books for the rest of the month. So what was the best thing to do? Well, I just drew books. Like, I just went and picked out whatever I wanted, but I really, oh, thank you. She made me a sucker. Mmm.
It's very cool.
It's delicioso.
It's a circle.
Yeah, it's a circle.
And our eyes are a circle.
Good job.
And our mouth
is not quite a circle. Okay. I will then, basically whenever I finish my TBR, I will just pick out one of these and it will show me the book that I'm going to be reading. So while we organize, I am going to be creating a document that will have all of the photos of the picture or of the book covers on that I will then put onto this foam poster board that we're getting and cut all them out. This is going to be a tedious thing, but I know I'm going to be so thankful that I did it because it's fun and it's cute. Who doesn't like little mini books? So that's what we're going to be working on. And then after that, I'm going to then take all these books and put them back on the shelves, but I'm going to put them in there in a specific way instead of right now. They're just all willy-nilly. It was just kind of wherever I could fit things, and it was just kind of wherever the wind took me. But it is chaos in here because I can't find anything in this stinking boat, and like, it's not that big. You'd think I'd be able to. So first off, let me show you what we're working with, and that way you can see why I need to do this. Okay, so I'm showing you guys the nitty gritty. This is where we're at right now. It is currently just whatever I had space for, and I kind of did a little bit of designing because like I would put all my spring books there. I put some spring books of it there, and then like back here gets pretty bad. It's literally just shoved with books. It's pretty after that point, but everything else, no rhyme or reason. So we're gonna figure out some rhyme and reason for this one. gonna do, because I got all of the series off of these shelves, they're gonna end up in a bookcase in the back, I believe, is how I wanna do that one. And then everything up here is going to end up being the books that I am most excited to read, just so that maybe they're, you know, higher on my TBR and it'll be easier whenever I'm making my videos for the months. And then everything in the back is going to end up being more like the series, like I said, but then also books that I want to read, but they're not necessarily high priority. So now we got to clean up. These are all the series. We got to get all of these off the bookcases and then put them over here where I can then start going through them and then start making the little mini books of them. All the books that I'm going to be going through and making into little mini books. Piper, say hi.
Hi.
So that's what I'm gonna be working on, and these were just the ones from these shelves over here. They look awfully bare. Minus I have Agatha Christie up here, City of Bones series, and then I have my Jane Karen over there. And I am not going to be doing anything with these just yet. They're going to kind of go into this jar the way, I'll explain that in a little bit. But basically, I just did not want to have to move all those just yet until I can move them to the back. We are now back in my bedroom, and we have my dog scratching at the door right next to me. But this is where I keep most of my hard covers, but we're obviously going to be switching that up. This is where I'm going to end up putting all of the series that I have. So because of that, I need to go ahead and get all of these ones down. That way I can then move that massive stack of series and get those back here and then figure out where I'm going to go from there. The way that I am doing all of this is that I will pick up the book that, you know, I want to keep, obviously, and then I will search for the cover. And I've basically just been going through Storygraph, which is the way that I like to categorize all of my books. And for one, I'm so sorry if you can hear Piper. She is determined to play this symbols game while I'm talking. But while I'm doing this, I will go on there and then make sure that it is added to my to read pile. But then I will save the photo of the cover, and then I add it onto Google Docs, and then I size it down so that way it can fit into, or it will just be like this little tiny like 2-inch book. It's gonna be so stinking cute. And while I'm looking at these, sometimes we get so many books at one time, and I do try to go through my Storygraph and make sure that they're books that I would actually want to read, but sometimes I forget to do that. So while I'm doing this, it has been really, really great because if you don't know anything about Storygraph, let me just show you real fast. Storygraph is an app, but I'm using it on the computer, and basically you can type in your book, you can say if you want to read it, you can say if you've currently read it, didn't finish, and if you want to remove the book. But then also it tells you kind of what's going on here, so what type of book it is, when it was created or published, who wrote it, how many pages are in it, and then you can also do editions, which will give you your, if you listen to it on audiobook or anything like that. So right here it has like a symbol that says, hey, there's probably something that you're not going to like, because I went ahead and set it up in my account as there are certain things that I do not want to read. It gives you all this stuff, which is cool. I never actually look at that, to be super honest. You can see your reviews, you can see your star rating, but then down here it'll say your content warnings. So if you click view summary, it will tell you there's going to be a lot of confinement and kidnapping. There's going to be a medium size of racism, slavery, toxic relationship. And then there's going to be just a little bit of animal cruelty, bullying, fat phobia. And these are ones that people themselves put in. Well, good morning. It is the next day. And as you can tell, we have a bit of a mess going on here. I have put books all on the top of my bookcase. I went ahead and brought, we have like a big bookcase in our bedroom, and I went ahead and just brought all those books in here, got them in the system, got their book covers downloaded and all that jazz. And I was up late working on all that, and I just didn't want to do the filming, to be honest, because it's like, it's the same thing as everything else that you've already seen. And I was trying to also get all this done while I needed to cook dinner for us, and it was delicious, but it did take some time. And Piper's right here running and playing with this toy that she found. Yeah, so today I'm going to start working on trying to get my little books made, and then also working on getting this front bookcase filled. And as I said, the front bookcase that you saw yesterday, well, I guess you just saw, but for me it was yesterday, is going to be our like high priority TBR, and then also just some books that like we're really interested in, even if we don't know much about it or whatnot. So for right now, honestly, I'm at this point where like my mind is just overrun with the possibilities, and not necessarily in the best of ways, because I would really like to do these by genre, because it's going to make it a lot easier for me. But then there's some books that it's like, what genre do you go into, because you're all kinds of things. So I think I'm just going to do it based off of like what I think the genre is, because then that's where I'd probably end up looking for it later on. So I'm going to do that, but then trying to decide where do I put those things, you know, it's just a whole thing, which is fine. So let's try and make my life less cluttered and go ahead and start putting some of these books back. Also, I do have some really fun spring cinnamon rolls in the oven right now. They're gonna look like little bunnies, and they're gonna be pink. I'm really excited, so I'll show you that whenever it's done. For now, let's get to sorting. Here's the problem I'm running into, is that I kind of know, like I said, what I want to do with this. These are all the books that came from the back room, and that's not even all of them. It's most of them, I should say. These are most of the books from the back room. And then I have this shelf here that right now it has like my pretty books here, which I do love them there, but they're just random compared to everything else. And then like I have a my air freshener that I always forget to turn off. I have like a box up there, or a basket, and that has my Anne of Green Gables collection and my Benedict Society or something like that. They were just pretty, and I used them as decor, and then they got put up there because I didn't really know what else to do with them just yet, and I was waiting for this video. And then I just have like some of our random books that I'm kind of interested in but not really interested in, but they're really good. I've either read them or they're ones that are really good for like our ministry, and so I want to keep those obviously, but I don't know that I want them there. But I'm also like, well, but if you have people over this to do ministry, like this is where we're at, so it just kind of makes sense to have them there. So I don't really know. I don't know. I thought about doing it as these are the books that have been read, but I think I'm doing that in the back room. Piper wants to say hi.
Hi.
Okay. And there you go. So I guess for now, I'm going to ignore that shelf and act like it doesn't exist, and we're just going to move forward. And you're going to act like the mess behind me doesn't exist. So this is a problem that I run into as well, is that the books that I want to put on the top so I can keep all my categories together don't fit. But some of them do. Like all my paperbacks are going to fit up here. But my hardbacks aren't. So then it's like, well then do I just do another section of the same thing? Yeah, like they just don't fit. So the problem I'm running into is that my top shelves are shorter than my middle and bottom shelves. And so I want to do like by genre, but whenever you have like a fiction book that's a paperback and then you have a fiction book that's a hardback, they are quite different in sizes. And then especially book of the months, they're usually really tall. But so then they definitely do not fit on these shelves whatsoever. And I could lay them down.
No, you can't. But you can set it up like here. It's bigger and tall.
She is right. I could set them up here like I've done with this. This is starting to become my fantasy section. But the problem with that is that then separates them, and I don't want to do that. So we might try this whole laying them down thing, but that I feel like that's going to end up taking up more space, because like this takes up way more space than that, you know? So we'll just kind of see where we end up with book-wise.
I wasn't just kidding.
She's not just kidding. These have been read. Okay. This is like fiction fantasy, right? For right now, I'm just putting books up here in their section, but they're not going to be organized just yet. I want to wait and see how much I have before I really start diving into that, because it'd be my luck that I'm really doing that and then I get to like the end of this and realize, well dang, that's not going to work, you know? So I'd rather figure out the dang it's not going to work before I actually spend all that time working on that. I finally got the bookcases done, and it literally took all day yesterday and all day today, and part of it was also trying to get the little book covers, that way I could make my cute little mini books. But you know, whatever. So I'm finally done. I'm gonna show you really fast what they look like, and then I'm going to show you how we're making our little mini books, and then that will be it for this video. So let me flip you guys around so y'all can see everything. Okay, so this is the new and improved space. My mom came and was very helpful and helped me realize, like, this area is where I do a lot of my filming, so let's make it look like spring. So we did, and I love the way that that looks. That has no real rhyme or reason, but it does have, behind the chair, it has my Susan Wittig Alberts, and behind that picture and beyond is all of my Agatha Christie's that I just shoved in there. I have all my classics down below, and then over here you're going to have all of my historical fiction, my tiny little section right there, those 3 books there, of romance. And then you're gonna have my just regular fiction, like contemporary fiction and things like that. Fantasy is down below on that shelf. And then we have middle school down below right there. And then all of this is mystery. And then we have a little bit more of the fantasy. This is some of more of the historical fiction. And then behind the chair in that corner, I have my small section of thrillers. And these are all the ones that I'm most excited about reading, slash I just needed to fill in some space, so they're in here. Now let's go look at the back one. Just need to show this off one more time because it's just so stinking cute. This is the other shelf. I am not going to go super in depth with this just because there's really not a whole lot of rhyme or reason to this one either. As you can tell, it is quite bare, but there is a reason for that, or at least it's just really bare up here. These are books for other videos that I'm going to be doing, so I'm not going to really spend a lot of time on that because I don't want to give things away. This is a shelf for books that have been finished, so I needed to leave enough space so that I could then, you know, bring it over. These are books that I want to read, but they're not necessarily like top priority. And then on the other side of that little divide there, and that's the books for next month. And I'm not going to show you guys because I don't want to ruin it, but then like the next one down is my books for the next month. And then so I'll have my let me see, my April, then May, and then June, and then the rest down at the bottom is just like our books for, you know, our Bible studies and for history and for homeschool and things like that. So that's just all down at the bottom. So I am a bit of a dum-dum because I told you guys I was going to film myself making my little miniature books, and then it's not that I necessarily forgot, it's that I was like, I want to get started and really figure out how I'm going to do this before I tell you guys how to do this. And then I got so engrossed in it and then was trying to get it done while also, you know, having to deal with Piper around and then getting things done and hanging out with Cody and all that stuff. And so I just didn't do it. So I have the end result, which is all of my books in here, and I love it. I did end up having to size up a jar by like 4 times because I did not realize I had this many books. I have this cute jar. Look at it. It's just full. All kinds. I did not do the ones where like they have the back sides done because I just don't have time for that. And my thinking is I'm using this to help me get through the different books that I have. And then whenever I'm done with the book, like, what am I going to do with this? Am I going to keep it? Probably not, because that's just, you know, hoarding. So it'll either be thrown away or I'll use it in some sort of craft project, but chances are I'm not going to need the back. So not doing that. I just did the front sides, but they're super, super cute. I'm very proud of them. Like, they're a little, you know, they're a little janky just because I'm doing this low budget, guys. I'm trying to, you know, come on, focus, not spend a fortune on making little miniature books that are gonna be thrown away. So all I did was I already showed you guys how I saved the images, and then I printed them off of my printer on just regular paper. And then I got poster board, but it's the foam board. And then I just literally used the Elmer's glue and just painted that stuff on there, slapped my papers on there. Well, you know, put them down nicely. And then pushed out as many of the bubbles as I possibly could and then just let it dry. And then once it was dried, I just cut it out. And that was a pain and a half. It took me, how long would you say? Probably 3 hours maybe 4 hours to find, like, to cut all of these out. And I used like one of those rotary cutters, and then I used scissors as well, and it's just whatever works best for you if you want to do this. I didn't like either method, to be super honest, so I mean, there might be better out there. But all that to say, we now have all of our books in here, and I am excited to get to use this, and I know I'm going to get to use it within the next couple of weeks. And I'm excited to finally have my boat all in order, like, well, all the books at least all in order. And now I know exactly where to find what I'm looking for, and it's just I'm so happy. I'm thankful. It took me 3 days to get that done, which was exhausting, and I'm so thankful that it is done. But all that to say, thank you guys so much for spending time with me, and I hope that if you haven't already subscribed, liked, and commented, that you will do so. It is extremely important for my channel, and it means the absolute world to me. And until next time, we'll see you guys then. Bye.
Amigos. Bada boo.
Oh, careful.